Chris Parsons from the Happy Healthy Marriage Reset. And I was thinking the other day about your sex life as a married couple and when it is and isn't a good indicator of the health of your relationship. So early in a relationship, before marriage, how good of a sex life you have is a terrible indicator of how healthy of a relationship you have, because your sex life is all about attraction and desire, and that is not enough for a healthy relationship. Just because there's a great chemistry and a lot of desire and attraction between two people doesn't mean that they're a great fit for doing life together. Because early in the relationship, it doesn't matter if you have completely different values and you don't agree on anything, you don't want any of the same things out of life, you have nothing that binds you together, that makes doing life together make sense other than the attraction and desire. Most of the time, when people get married, there is a lot more than just attraction and desire. There is an idea of what they're doing with their life and where they're going, of wanting some of the same things, of appreciating each other's values, not necessarily having the same values. You don't have to have the same values as your spouse, but appreciating each other's values. And so in marriage, those things become a lot more important. But what happens in marriage, and the biggest reason that attraction and desire suffer, which causes your sex life to suffer, is resentment. Because when you allow resentment to build in your relationship, it completely removes attraction and desire. Even men, women tend to have more reactive sex drives, which means it's beneath the surface and it's a man's job to bring it to the surface in order to get them to desire sex. But even men who generally can compartmentalize and deal with their emotions completely separately from their desire for sex, when a man becomes very bitter and hurt and resentful towards his wife, he will lose any and all desire to be intimate with her. It happens, and so my point is, if it happens to men, it happens so much easier, quicker for women, because women, again, these are generalities, okay? If it doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. But generally, women are more likely to be in tune with their feelings, and when there's an emotional disconnection, when emotional walls start coming up, when they don't feel loved, valued, supported, they lose the ability to feel and connect with their desire and their attraction. And so early in a relationship, your sex life is a terrible indicator of how healthy your relationship is. The longer you've been married, the more stuff that you've gone through, the more challenges, the more difficult things in life of buying a house and, all these stressful life events that you go through together. When you don't allow resentment to build, the attraction and desire stay high. And that is going to result in a good sex life. When I say a good sex life, I would qualify that. Now, this is probably, there's ranges. I'll just say that. But generally speaking, a healthy sex life is going to be at least once a week, most weeks, with no sense of obligation, okay? It's not marked on the calendar. It's not, well, it's Saturday, so, it's the day. There's no sense of duty, but at least once a week of genuine desire being unleashed, where you both want each other. It's not one-sided. Doesn't mean that one person doesn't typically do the initiating. Because women have a reactive sex drive, men do have to initiate far more, and I think that they have the responsibility to. If you look at nature and in the wild, males initiate sex. And if you've seen animals, it's kind of, it looks like rape. If you haven't watched a nature documentary, it's crazy. So don't do that. But men shouldn't feel bad for having to initiate. And if a man, this is going on a tangent, but if a man is complaining and saying that he wants his wife to initiate more, that is a sign of a deeper problem, of him having a victim mentality, of wanting his wife to want him and not thinking he has to do anything to deserve it, right? Well, just telling her that I need sex should be enough. Good luck. Telling your spouse what you need does not work, has never worked, and it makes people very bitter when they realize that. Because telling your wife that you need sex does not make her desire sex. And so people say, well, if I don't just tell my spouse what I need, what am I supposed to do? This is a big problem with the 5 love languages, by the way. The problem is you discover your love language, you tell your spouse that that's your love language and that's what you need, and then they only half-ass do it, and you're left even more upset, disappointed, and frustrated than before. So what is the alternative if telling your spouse what you need doesn't work? Well, of course, the answer is in my book, The Happy Healthy Marriage Reset. But the short answer is tell your spouse what you want rather than what you need. And so here's what I mean. Telling your wife, I need sex, creates no interest in her in having sex. Maybe a sense of obligation, but no, not interest. Telling your wife, you look sexy as hell, and I want to take you right here, right now, is telling her what you want, and it creates an interest. Now, if resentment has built up, which has taken away her ability to feel that desire, then the resentment has to be dealt with. But telling your spouse what you want without any sense of manipulation, guilt, control, any of those things, but just an outcome to say, you look sexy, I want you, that is far more effective. Saying, I need you to have sex with me at least once a week because I'm a man and I have needs, and terrible. Creates no interest, no desire, no attraction, only builds resentment in both of you. Because best case scenario, she feels obligated, like she has to do her wifely duties, so she has sex with you. You're frustrated because she barely tried. She's frustrated because she did something she didn't want to do to try to appease you. Now there's even more resentment that's built up in the relationship. So when people ask, is maintenance sex a good idea? My answer is generally no, it's not a good idea. Maintenance sex is a terrible idea because it's not true desire, and it's masking the real problem of dealing with the resentment that's built up in the relationship. So early in a relationship, your sex life being good is irrelevant to whether you have a healthy relationship. after you've been married years and you've gone through things, having a good sex life is usually a great indicator of how healthy your relationship is. Not always. Some couples have tons and tons of resentment built up and emotional disconnection and emotional walls and still maintain a great sex life. But it's pretty rare. For most couples, when emotional walls, emotional disconnection, and resentment happen, the sex life suffers. And a lot of people have been suffering for years, and they've been trying to make themselves feel okay with it. And you shouldn't be okay with it, not just because you need sex and it's healthy and it's good for you to have sex with your spouse, but because it's an indicator of something wrong in your marriage that you need to deal with. And so if you haven't read the Happy Healthy Marriage Reset, read it. It's going to tell you exactly what to do to solve this problem so that you can have a great sex life, a great marriage, and a great, wonderful, amazing, joyful life. All right.